Hey, how's it going, guys? Coach Steven here for CQC Systems. I've been talking with you a little bit about the Makiwara. I've been receiving a lot of questions about how I made this one. So in this video, I'm going to give you a brief rundown on how I made mine, some tips on how you can modify it, and also some alternative designs that you can use as well, along with some recommendations. So yeah, stay tuned for that information. Go well, do well. Alright, so many of you have probably seen me training on this Makiwara. Over here you can see I've got the top bound with rope. These are pine planks that I set in the ground. A good rule of thumb is however high you want your Makiwara, you want 1/3 of its length in the ground. So if you want it let's say 1.7 meters high, you need 1/3 of 1.7 extra deep into the ground. So you want to dig quite a deep hole, set it into the ground. You can fix it in with rocks and then fill it with earth, or you can fill it in with concrete. The first time I used earth, second time this one's filled in with concrete. How many planks you want to use is up to you, how rigid you want. So I suggest that if you apply your weight onto it, if you like lean all your weight onto the Makiwara, you want it to move just a bit. You don't want it to be too rigid. If you can't get it to move, it's too rigid. I've done mine with quite a lot of reinforcements. It was even more reinforced than this originally, but I don't know if you can see, I actually cut off some of the planks to make it less rigid with a bit more flex. If it's too rigid, you might as well be hitting a phone book on a wall, guys. So you want it to have a bit of play to it, a bit of bow to it. When you hit it, you want it to move. And if you press into it, you want it to, that flex, you want the flex to press back into your body and challenge your muscles, but it needs to move. There needs to be some play there. So that's really important. There's different materials that you can use, different types of wood that you can use. You can make them with car tires. There's all sorts. So I'll throw some basic designs up in this video as well. I just wanted to tell you a bit about how I made mine. And in terms of padding, there's lots of things you can do with padding. Traditionally, they bound lots of rope together and then bound that around, or they took lots of straw and bound that with rope. So if you want to go the more traditional approach, you can do that. Otherwise, you can buy pads and just slip pads on. What I've done, I don't have them with me right now. I've just got some old kickboxing shin pads. I just cut the foot off the shin pad, so it's just the shin pad, not the foot pad, and I slip the shin pad over there. You can also use things like flip-flops or slip-slops, whatever you call them, where you're from. You just want some padding, because to hit just this, you're going to split your knuckles very easily and you're not going to get very good training. So yes, this needs to have enough flex to it, and you want enough cushioning that it diffuses the energy, that you're not splitting the skin on your knuckles, and that you're not cracking your bones. You want to simulate hitting a person more or less. Maybe a little harder if you're a bit more of a seasoned martial artist, maybe a bit softer if you're new to it. You can customize this to your needs. There's no one right way of making these. I see a lot of guys are like, oh, that's not the right way. It's not a real Makiwara. Horseshit. Makiwara is a striking post. It's a post that you strike. You can make it a million different ways, and you can customize it to your own preferences, your own height, your own rigidity, your own amount of cushioning. You can add things that I'm gonna do. I'm gonna add tires here, so I can do low kicks and kick tires. I've got solar plexus shots there. This one's higher than the traditional one because normally they actually cut off here, so you can just practice solar plexus shots. I wanted mine a bit higher so I can practice jaw and throat strikes as well for my chops and my kicks. Just make it how you want it. It's your tool. Do what you want with it. Don't get caught up on it. It has to be a specific way. This is just to give you some ideas. I recommend you check out the book, The Art of Hojo Undo. There's some great designs in there as well. Okay, I'm not going to rant on too much. I'm going to stop there. Alright, so that gives you some basic information about how I made my Makiwara. I strongly recommend that you make one as well. It's one of my favorite training tools. Feel free to shoot me any questions, comment on the videos, and yeah, happy training. Once you've made your own, tag me in the video, or tag me in some pictures. I'd love to see, and tag me in some training on it. And if you want some tips on your designs or tips on your technique while you're using it, feel free to shoot me questions on those as well. Happy training. Much love from me to you, Coach Steven for CQC Systems. Go well and do well. Cheers. Okay, so I've also included a little bit of footage here of me actually using the Makiwara. What I want you to notice is that I've actually kept the spacing between the Makiwara and the wall. This allows you to move to the side of the Makiwara as well as somewhat behind it. So this allows you to get in a lot of side angle strikes, chops, and roundhouse kicks, amongst other techniques that you would not actually be able to do properly if you did not have access to the side and somewhat angled back of the Makiwara. So keep it slightly away from the wall if you have the space to do so. I would strongly recommend that. I'm also doing a variety of strikes that are not strictly traditional. A lot of spearing techniques are usually practiced on the Makiwara to develop alignment and structure. Here I'm using whipping and snapping strikes. Alright, so here you can see I dug a hole. This will be where the Makiwara is set into. So this hole is 1/3 the depth that the total Makiwara is length. Here I'm walking across. These are the new planks that I purchased. These I'll be cutting into various staggered lengths and assembling. Here you can see I'm making the first cut for my primary plank. Yeah, measuring it out, drawing a line, cutting it, yeah, bring it across, bring it up, talking about the length and the ideal height. Okay, over here I'm setting the plank in the hole and making sure that I'm happy with the total height of the plank whilst it's in the hole. Okay, here you can see the plank's quite tall. That's because it's going to be fixed in the hole. You need extra length, 1/3 extra length. I'm also cutting the secondary and tertiary planks that they are become staggered. So I want it to be reinforced, but not too sturdy that it doesn't move. You can see that I'm busy making the cuts, starting off slowly at first, getting the saw to bite, and then cutting through. Okay, so I'm cutting more planks here. With my Makiwara, I chose to add a lot of planks, and I staggered them as they went back. So the more that I applied a force and the more that the Makiwara flexed, the harder it became to make it flex any further than that. So I wanted it to move a little bit initially, and then I wanted it to become increasingly difficult to make it move beyond that. So I didn't want it to move too much. I wanted to be able to apply a very strong force to make it move initially, but I didn't want it to move to the point where that the front plank would break. Alright, so in this part of the video you can see I've put on some gloves. I've got some creosote there, which is a wax sealant. I am then going to seal the planks, front, back, side to side, top and bottom, completely sealed, making sure the planks don't rot, and this will increase how long your Makiwara lasts for. You don't want it to rot and break. You want it to be sturdy for many hours of use to come. It's a fairly time-consuming process, so I would recommend going Karate Kid style on this, using both hands, wax on, wax off kind of vibe. So, get 10, 15, 20 strokes left and right, switch hands, and just keep alternating until you're finished. This way you're challenging your nervous system. Equally, yeah, and you're getting a little bit of training and coordination in whilst you're busy doing your construction. Okay, this is now about an hour later. The wax sealant is dry. I am now layering the planks on top of each other and securing them together using long screws. Each plank is secured in 2 places to the plank in front of it. Later I will bind all of them together with a rope to make in the middle to make sure they're very secure and tight, acting as one unit, flexing together to create, yes, a very strong flex without the front or lead plank snapping without support. So yeah, creating a strong unit of support with each plank, binding them together, securing them together nicely. On this side you can see they all come to a nice flush end, but on the other side they are at staggered lengths, which will create the bowing effect that you want for your Makiwara. Okay, if you have a drill or power tools to secure the screws, this will go much quicker. I did have some in the garage. I could have ran an extension because they were not cordless. I decided, as it was pine wood and I had a long screwdriver with enough torque, I just did it by hand. It didn't bother me, but yeah, you can drill pilot holes or use power tools. So I have secured all the planks together. You can see it's quite a large, thick structure. I've placed it in the hole now to see, finally, to make sure that the hole is the right depth, that I'm happy with the height, that I'm happy with the flex. Just checking everything out, seeing how I'm going to secure it with some rocks, getting out some leaves and dirt, getting an extra couple centimeters, making sure I'm happy with everything. You can do some last checks with your measurements, the hole depth, the height, and yeah, just make sure you're happy. And at this point I'm just looking to secure it. You can secure it with rocks and dirt, although I chose to concrete it in this time. As a last addition in this video to help those looking to start their Makiwara training, I've included some pictures from the book The Art of Hojo Undo by Michael Clarke. It's a good book. I recommend purchasing it if you have the opportunity. From what I've seen, the PDF version is free to view and download online. Alright, these pictures show a variety of karate instructors using different types of Makiwara and impact tools, striking posts. Here again you can see a few different designs for striking posts on Makiwara, some words detailing usage. Here we're having a look at some different exercises, basic exercises you can do, and exercise 1, exercise 2 with a few notes on technique execution. Here exercise 3, once again 2 diagrams with a description, and exercise 4, once again 2 diagrams with a description. Exercise 5, once again 2 diagrams with a description, and yes, some notes for construction of the Makiwara. Just pause wherever you want to have a greater look at these. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you found it interesting. Please like, share, subscribe, comment. Thank you.